All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor Tham Yad, La, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Baha, Racha, Kwadash. The honors the apostles and the elders, the great millstone, roll well, and peace and blessing, salutations, and hopefully elect of the nation of Israel, Yahshua Allah. All right, this lesson shouldn't be too long, like at all. All right, I'm going to go into an article. Let's get the screen share first so you can see what I'm getting at quick. All right, there we go. I'm going to be going into this article, and for the only reason I'm going to be picking things out of this article is because to prove a point, all right? Because the name of this lesson is hope for the best, but expect the worst, all right? And that's what we have to do. We have to hope that we be delivered. We have to hope that we don't get touched, like by Esau. We hope that we don't have to be tortured, but reality is that we very well may have to face it. Okay, so we need to gird up ourselves spiritually and be ready. Okay, don't pray to not be tortured. Pray for strength to endure whatever may come your way, whether that be torture or whatever. All right, you need to make sure that you're mentally prepared for this. All right, because people typically, when they think of torture, they're like, "Oh, they're gonna pull teeth or pull fingernails." That's not always the case. All right, and many new forms of torture that they use is mental. All right, they get into your mind, and that's when they really fuck with you. Right, when they get into your mind, you're done. Okay, you're scarred for life. Right, but at the end of the day, we're dead. Okay, we're dead anyways because we have to live in this flesh. Right, and I mean that in a metaphorical sense because we have to live in sin. We have to live in a wicked world. Right, but you know does this mean that you're going to get tortured if they get you? Not necessarily. Right, it's all up to Yahweh what happens to you or not. You might get captured, you might escape, you might get captured, you might get tortured a little bit, then escape. All right, you might get captured, tortured, then killed. Okay, but we have examples set up to show us how we ought to be in these scenarios. Right, how we have to be faithful and fear Yahweh Yahushai. Right, specifically with the story I'm going to get, it was before Yahushai was on the scene, so it was just fearing Yahweh, but you get the point. All right, this may become a reality for some of us, and that's something that we have to expect, like the title is, right? Because I got it from Elder Chazak, right, which is the brother from Yahushua coming back. Okay, to hope for the best, but expect the worst. I hope that you get delivered and don't have to go through torture or anything like that, but expect to be tortured in the worst way possible, right? Because to add on to that, what he said, if you expect the worst and it's anything but what you were expecting, you're going to feel relieved, right? Like legit. So let me bring out a little bit of this article just to make a point. All right, it's called Neither Dead Nor Alive. Former Gitmo inmate recalls horrors of infamous camp and CIA black sites. Okay, which is Guantanamo. All right. Being detained in the Guantanamo Bay camp was like hovering between life and death, but the CIA-run black sites were even worse. A man who spent 15 years without charge in the infamous facility has told RT he's going underground. Uh, Mansour Gaddafi from Yemen, who was confined in the U.S.'s, which is the United States' most notorious detention camp between 2002 and 2016, is still tormented by the traumatic experience he had there. Detained because of alleged ties he had to Al Qaeda, he was eventually released without charge. That just shows that Esau is the devil too, because he released him after 15 damn near, or like 14, 15 years. Well, it says 15 year, so like about 15 years with no charge. So he wasn't even, they because there was alleged ties to him being with Al Qaeda or Qaeda, however you want to pronounce it, which is a group funded by the U.S. anyways, right? They act like they're fighting terrorism when they're creating it, but that's a whole nother topic. But he was released. They did all this torture to him to the point where he's traumatized and scarred for life, and they just are gonna release it like it's nothing, right? He said, "We were totally disconnected from the world outside. I was really afraid and confused. Did not know what was going to happen to me. We felt like the Americans were going to kill us," he told the show's host, Afshin Ratanzi, adding that living there was like hell, really. The interrogators applied some torture techniques to interrogate detainees and openly threatened the inmates with death, claiming also that the world would not even know about their demise. They said they were going to kill us and throw us into the sea. They said the world does not know about you being brought here. Some detainees could not stand physical and mental torture and eventually succumbed to insanity, right? Which that insanity is a result of torture in general. But like I said, people when they think about torture, they think about physical, right? They think about people pulling nails and waterboarding, which is fucking terrible. I'm not over here telling you, this is worse than that, per se, because they're all terrible. But what they try to do mainly is mental torture. They try to get into your mind because once they get into your mind, you're fucked, right? You really are, and they'll drive you insane. I watched some detainees lose their minds, break down. The Yemeni, who was just 19 years old when he was placed in Gitmo, recalled, "Everything around is designed to break you, to make you suffer. The treatment, the rules, the food, the cleaning, the clothes, everything." So this could become a reality for us if we don't take the chip, right? If we don't want to denounce Yahweh Al Shai, we could be put in this type of scenario, right? Like they literally could ship you to their, like Guantanamo Bay, they literally could ship you because we're going to be marked as terrorists. So if they're putting somebody that's alleged to be in Al Qaeda, they're putting him in Guantanamo Bay. What are they going to do to us? Because we're the reason through the spirit and power of Yahweh Al Shai why their kingdom is going down. So what makes you think that he won't throw you in there, right? But you need to make sure that you don't break, right? Because notice how he said everything in there, the treatment, the rules, food, cleaning, clothes, everything is meant to break you, right? Meaning get you to crack, stuff like that, right? Which for his case, it's hard to crack if he has nothing to crack about. If you get what I'm saying, he has nothing. He's not a part of that. So how the hell would he? It's just they're beating a dead horse. But dealing with us, they're going to do all this. They may do all this stuff to make you break, to make you take the chip, right? To make you denounce Yahweh, Yahushua, to make you rat out your own brothers, right? But you need to make sure that you don't, all right? You need to make sure that you don't, which is why I got this right here, Second Maccabees 7, in which we're going to read that whole chapter because it goes into how a mother and her sons refused to eat pork, and also that chapter prior to that, it talks about their teacher Eleazar, who was killed for refusing to eat pork. They actually told him, basically, okay, you don't need to eat it, but just pretend you did, so they will. He still said no, so they killed him. But that was a righteous death, right? He died for righteousness' sakes, and he's going to be rewarded for that. All right, let's read on a little bit. But well, just to add, it's not about being prepared physically or mentally. Well, mentally goes in spiritually, so really it is mental, right? You need to be spiritually prepared for this type of stuff. You need to keep the faith, right? You need to keep the faith. So let's read on. Um, no limitation to what they can do to us. Despite all his ordeals in Guantanamo, Gaddafi, if I'm spelling that wrong, a day five, Gaddafi says it was in fact not the worst place he had been sent to during his detention period. So he's saying that Guantanamo Bay isn't even the worst because there's something else. and the so-called black sites run by the CIA in some third countries, like a secret prison in Thailand, codenamed Cat's Eye, which was once managed by the current CIA chief Gina Haspel, were even worse. All right, so that's just food for thought, because like the quote is, man, Al Khazak, all right, hope for the best, but expect the worst. So, or like I said, through the spirit and probably Yahweh Yahushai, we're tearing this man's kingdom down, and he knows that we're the next in rulership. So, really, if he was smart, he would be begging us, well, begging Yahweh Yahushai for mercy, and giving us stuff and helping us, giving us gifts and all that. But instead, they're doing the opposite. Instead, they're going all out. They want to make us, they want to torture us. They want to kill us, like the complete opposite, which is going to make it even worse for them when we're on top. All right, but if they're doing this to this guy or to these people that are with terrorist groups that they fucking fund, what are they going to do to us? Okay, that is the question. That is the question. So he said, I was in the CIA black sites. It was the worst. It was worst ever. Even when I talk about it, it breaks me. So it's so bad to the point when he talks about it, it makes him crack. It scares him. It terrifies him. That's how terribly they tortured this guy. There was no limitation to what they can do to us, no limitation, whatever they want. Some detainees died under torture, the Yemeni said. If I'm pronouncing that right, because if you watch my videos, there's plenty of times where I'm not able to pronounce certain words. I am not the best with pronunciation, so you gotta bear with me. But this is what he said. You just become a ghost. You spend 2, 3, 4, 5 months, 1 year just blindfolded, loud music, naked, hanged to the ceiling or tied to a wall. Sometimes we could not walk, we would collapse. They would drag us along the ground. So I also read before this video that they cover your eyes and they cover your ears and they even put something over your face so you can't really smell anything. So you basically cut off all your senses, man. Because like he said right here, you just become a ghost. That's going into mental torture, man. He said, mentally, I can't escape. Gaddafi's suffering did not just end with his release. After spending 15 years in detention without charge, he was eventually cleared by the Periodic Review Board and sent to Serbia, a country where he had no friends, relatives, or even acquaintances. Okay, let's just get to. I think that's the point. Well, actually, because there should have been. Oh no, it doesn't mention the stuff that they do. They do all sorts of different things to you, man. Like I'm pretty sure I remember reading about it said rectal feeding, which that already sounds fucking terrible. And they got waterboarding. They got uh, sexual humiliation, humiliation, right? Stuff like that, and it's all very real, man. That's what they do. Which I mean, Esau, he's been perfecting his torture tactics for a long time now. He's the wicked. His blessing is the sword, and that's obviously something he'd be a professional at doing. All right. So let me get into the scriptures now, which is the important part of this lesson. This is on 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, which this can be going into the spiritual demon Satan, because he is, an adversary to us, but this is mainly, in this instance, talking about Esau right now, right? And the reason it's talking about Esau is because Esau is the one that's looking to devour us. He's looking to kill us. He's looking to make us take that chip. He's the one that's putting pork in everything, man. All right, so this is manifold. This is going into the spiritual demon Satan and Esau himself. Okay, well, the wicked, the elites. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. All right, he wants to devour all of us. All right, truth be told, he wants to kill every single one of us, but he's not going to be able to. All right, because most of the elect are going to be beamed up, but the ones that he does get his hands on, depending what Yahweh allows him to do. Because keep that in mind too, he can only do what Yahweh allows him to do, right? And Yahweh is not going to put more on you than you can handle unless he literally wants to destroy you. All right, but we have faith that we're not, that he's not trying to destroy us, which means he's going to push you to your very edge, but you're not going to fall off the cliff. Right? He's going to push your boundaries. He's going to push you to your limits, but he's not going to exceed your limits. All right. So know that whatever he's doing to you, you can take it. Yahweh knows that you can take it. All right. So be comforted with that. Now, this is Job 38:3. It says, "Gird up now thy loins like a man, for I will demand of thee, and answer thou me." So our job is to spiritually gird up our loins. All right, because it's spiritual warfare. So what happens in war? There's many times, most times, if not all times, there's prisoners of war, people that are caught and sent to prison by their enemy that they're fighting against. Right? You think they're gonna give them sirloin steak dinner with a glass of wine, with mashed potatoes? No, they're not gonna do that. All right, they're gonna treat you like shit because you're an enemy and they want to get information out of you. And well, in this case, they want you to break, they want you to fold. Okay, they want you to take the chip, which if you take the chip, that means you're serving Esau, that you're putting him up as your God. Right? And you're going to be utterly destroyed if you take that chip, which is the mark of the beast. This is Romans 15:4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. All right, so things of aforetime, the scriptures, they were written for our learning. Right? They're examples for us to be, are examples on how we have to be. You see? Which is why now I'm going to go into this, which is Second Maccabees chapter 7. All right? I'm going to read this chapter. It's a lot of reading, but well, to an extent, for a video that I don't plan on making long, but I'm going to just kind of go through it. All right, so the Second Maccabees chapter 7, verse 1. It came to pass also that 7 brethren with their mother were taken and compelled by the king against the law to taste swine's flesh, and were tormented with scourges and whips. But one of them that spake first said thus, What wouldest thou ask or learn of us? We are ready to die rather than to transgress the laws of our fathers. Then the king, which the king I'm pretty sure was Antiochus Epiphanes, right, which was an Edomite, right? I'm pretty sure it was Antiochus or Antiochus, however you want to pronounce that. Then the king, being in a rage, commanded pans and cauldrons to be made hot, which forthwith being heated, he commanded the first to cut out the tongue of him that spake first, and to cut off the utmost parts of his body, the rest of his brethren and his mother looking on. All right, so they're going to mutilate him. Verse 5. Now when he was thus maimed in all his members, he commanded him, being yet alive, to be brought to the fire, and to be fried in the pan. And as the vapor of the pan was for a good space dispersed, they exhorted one another with the mother to die manfully, saying thus, The Lord Yahweh looketh upon us, and in truth hath comforted us, as Moses in his song, which witnessed to their faces, declared, saying, And he shall be comforted in his servants. So when the first was dead after this number, they brought the second to the walking stock, to humiliated him, they laughed at him. And when they had pulled off the skin of his head with the hair, they asked him, Wilt thou eat before thou be punished throughout every member of thy body? But he answered in his own language and said, No, which would be La'ah, right? La'ah, Laah. Okay? But of course, if you were to read it in Hebrew, it wouldn't be spelled like that because we use characters. All right. Wherefore he also received the next torment in order as the former did. Verse 9. And when he was at the last gap, he said, Thou like a fury takest us out of this present world, or Salakia, present life. But the King of the world shall raise us up, who have died for his laws unto everlasting life. Verse 10. And after him, Salakia, there's no and. Verse 10. After him was the third made a mocking stock, and when he was required, he put out his tongue, and that right soon, holding forth his hands manfully, and say courageously, "These I had from heaven, and for his laws I despise them, and from him I hope to receive them again." Insomuch that the king and they that were with him marveled at the young man's courage, for that he nothing regarded the pain. So Yahweh can make it so you don't even feel what they're doing, you know, which is what I believe is going to happen to the 2/3, except it's going to be the complete opposite. And by that I mean instead of them not feeling it at all or feeling it little, they're going to feel it immensely. Okay, because I believe, and the reason I'm saying I believe is because as far as I know, as far as my understanding goes, it's not written in the scriptures, you know, like how painful that death is going to be, because it tells you not even to really worry about the wicked, how they're going to be punished. But I just to throw this out there, I believe those missiles, getting hit with those missiles, because people think it's going to be quick and just going to get burned up into ashes. No, I feel like it's going to be the most painful death ever experienced by anybody, and it's going to feel terribly slow. Whereas the martyrs of the elect, it's going to go by quick. Maybe they won't die quick, but it's going to feel quick, because sometimes like time flies by. You know, like for example, when you went to school, when you were in school waiting for the bell to ring, it'd feel like forever. But on the weekend, the time would fucking fly like crazy. It would be like 2 days. You got Saturday and Sunday, and then you go back to school on Monday, and it'd be like the weekend was like an hour long. It's like, what the heck, But anyways, verse 13, 2 Maccabees 7:13. Now, when this man was dead also, they tormented and mangled the fourth in like manner. So when he was ready to die, he said thus, "It is good being put to death by men to look for hope from Yahweh to be raised again, or to be raised up again by him. As for thee, thou shalt have no resurrection to life." Afterward they brought the fifth also, and mangled him. Then looked he unto the king and said, "Thou hast power over men, thou art corruptible, thou doest what thou wilt. Yet think not that our nation is forsaken of Yahweh, but abide a while and behold his great power, how he will torment thee and thy seed." After him also they brought the sixth, who being ready to die said, "Be not deceived without cause, for we suffer these things for ourselves, having sinned against our power. Therefore marvelous things are done unto us." All right, that's another thing we need to keep in mind, is that we're worthy of punishment. All right, Yahweh is having mercy on us, just allowing us to breathe right now. Okay, because we deserve death. Right, I personally am not even. I don't even deserve death, because even that's a mercy for me. All right, I deserve the worst thing possible, but Yahweh Yahushua is having mercy upon us. So if thou would die, Yahweh Yahushua, and Yahweh Yahushua Ratazala, we can endure to the end and be delivered as part of the elect, or the 1/3. All right. Verse 19, "But think not thou that takest in hand to strive against Yahweh, that thou shalt escape unpunished." And that's also another thing. Esau and the elites, or whoever's torturing you or killing you, killing the martyrs, because there's going to be martyrs for sure, they're not going to escape. Right? They're going to be judged way worse. Whatever they do to you, you can do way, way worse. Right? But the mother was marvelous above all, and worthy of honorable memory. For when she saw her 7 sons slain within the space of one day, she bare it with a good courage, because of the hope that she had in the Lord, which is Yahweh. Yea, she exhorted every one of them in her own language, filled with courageous spirits, and stirring up her womanish thoughts with a manly stomach, she said unto them, "I cannot tell how ye came into my womb, for I neither gave you breath nor life, neither was it I that formed the members of every one of you, but doubtless the Creator of the world, who formed the generation of man, and found out the beginning of all things, will also of his own mercy give you breath and life again, as ye now regard not your own selves for his law's sake." Yep, it's Antiochus. Now Antiochus, thinking himself despised and suspecting it to be a reproachful speech, so he felt disrespected. He felt it was a disrespectful speech, even though he didn't know what she was saying. Whilst the youngest was yet alive, or at least it doesn't appear that way. Whilst the youngest was yet alive, did not only exhort him by words, but also assured him with oaths that he would make him both a rich and a happy man if he would turn from the laws of his fathers, and that also he would take him for his friend and trust him with affairs. All right, so remember, this is the youngest son, man. Verse 25, but when the young man would in no case hearken unto him, the king called his mother and exhorted her that she would counsel the young man to save his life. And when he had exhorted her with many words, he promised him that she would counsel her son. But she, bowing herself toward him, laughing, the cruel tyrant to scorn, spake in her country manner on this, or Salakia, spake in her country language on this manner. O my son, have pity upon me that bare thee 9 months in my womb, and gave thee such 3 years, and nourished thee, and brought thee up unto this age, and endured the troubles of education. I beseech thee, my son, look upon the heaven and the earth, and all that is therein, and consider that Yahweh made them of things that were not, and so was mankind made likewise. Fear not this tormentor, but being worthy of thy brethren, take thy death, that I may receive thee again in mercy with thy brethren. While she was yet speaking these words, the young man said, Whom wait ye for? I will not obey the king's commandment, but I will obey the commandment of the law that was given unto our fathers by Moses. And thou that hast been the author of mischief, of all mischief against the Hebrews, shalt not escape the hands of Yahweh, for we suffer because of our sins. And though the living Lord be angry with us a little while for our chastening and correction, yet shall he be a one again with his servants. But thou, O godless man, of all other most wicked, be not lifted up without a cause, nor puffed up with uncertain hopes, lifting up thy hand against the servants of Yahweh. For thou hast not yet escaped the judgment of Almighty Yahweh, who seeth all things. For our brethren who now have suffered a short pain are dead under Yahweh's covenant of everlasting life. But thou, through the judgment of Yahweh, shalt receive just punishment for thy pride. But I, as my brethren, offer up my body and life for the laws of our fathers, beseeching Yahweh that he would speedily be merciful unto our nation, and that thou by torments and plagues mayest confess that he alone is God, right? Or, like the one true God, the only God. Verse 38, and that in me and my brethren the wrath of the Almighty, which is justly brought upon our nation, may cease. Then the king, being in a rage, handed him worse than all the rest, and took it grievously that he was mocked. So this man died undefiled, and put his whole trust in Yahweh. Last of all, after the mother died. Let this be enough now to have spoken concerning the idolatrous feast and the extreme tortures. All right, so they died because they refused to eat pork. Keep that in mind. That all that happened because they refused to eat pork. Right? And now you look at Jacob, and he's mowing that shit down. He's shoving it into his mouth like he hasn't eaten in days. All right? That's how fucking destroyed our people are as a whole. All right? But also keep in mind that that one at the last, that was the youngest son. All right? So if the mother and the brethren, they went through all this torture for refusing to eat swine's flesh, and they endured it, and basically looked at him and said, fuck you, I ain't eating that shit. How much more should we be, regarding the chip? Because taking the mark of the beast is the worst thing you can ever do. Okay, you're going to get destroyed, obliterated by nuclear missiles if you take that chip. All right, so no matter what they do, Yahweh, Yahushua, we can endure and not fold. All right, that we can remain faithful unto death. Let me close out with that scripture. Whoops, slacking. Revelations 2:10. All right, this is Revelation chapter 2, verse 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. All right, so that's how we have to be. All right, so with that said, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yad, La, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Waha, Racha, Wadash. The honors to the apostles and the elders of great most on the road well. Peace and blessings, salutations to the hopefully elect of the nation of Israel, Yashar Allah. That said, Shalom.